was just like, fine, fuck Sarah. I'm sorry for, saying that, but no, I'm not. Like I
I'm
was,
just gonna cut this out at the beginning of the episode.
yeah, you should. I mean,
Okay.
I'm just being honest. Hi everyone, Nina here,
Hey, and I'm Anya.
and welcome to our podcast. So, today we're going to be discussing part 2 of the third book in the Crescent City series. We're a little bit late this time because Anya was sadly sick and she wasn't able to talk
Mhm.
properly, right? So now she's finally back on track.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thanks for waiting, you guys. I mean, we are doing this as soon as we can. Like, if my voice still sounds weird, then I mean, it is what it is. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds fine, so you'll be fine. But if you haven't followed us on social media already, this is like seriously a really good reason to follow us because we let everyone know there that the episode's gonna be late. But if you don't follow us, you don't know, where we are if we're even alive. So you should do that. Plus, the content we post is pretty fun. So yeah.
And we also have the information about the next episodes on our social media. So check this out too if you're interested.
Yes, we posted a schedule and it's really interesting. And maybe like you can read along with us because the books that we picked, I think, are really fun.
Mhm.
And I think that if you like, Sarah J. Maas's books, you will love these too. Okay, so let's discuss this second half of this book.
Mhm.
So where did we leave? Like Ethan, he was, with Jessica at the end. He wanted to resurrect Sigrid.
Mhm.
The guys, they were headed, to Avalon, right? And yeah, okay, with which storyline should we start?
Well, let's go probably to Avalon,
Yeah, I
whatever
don't
it
know how it's
is.
pronounced. I
And
apologize in advance. But yeah, okay, sure.
Mhm.
So, what did you think of this whole situation? Like, how did you like the plot?
Well, honestly, I was a bit worried when we found out that they're going there because so far the book was, pretty action packed. It was fast paced. Things were just happening and I couldn't stop reading. And then they were like, we're going to do research at the library on this island. And I was like, seriously? Like, we're going to be sitting in a library now and doing nothing? I mean, I love libraries, but I was like, do we need this right now? Because I was so like into all of the action-packed moments that I kind of didn't want them to stop. But then it turned out that shit went down on that island. So actually, I was enjoying the storyline. I mean, there were some parts of it that I was, I guess, left confused by, but like, I guess we'll get into it more later. But yeah, like, as they arrived and as things started happening, like, I was pretty invested. And what about you?
Yeah, I was worried that it's gonna take too long because, like you said, research was mentioned, and I was also like, well, shit, I hope this is not gonna be some snooze fest. But yeah, when they got there, I was intrigued what's gonna happen. Early on, we meet Flynn's sister, by the way, which was really, unexpected. A new character was introduced in a way. Like we've heard mentions of her, but nothing more than that.
Mhm.
And it was so interesting, like that Tyrion ended up marrying her. I was like, okay, they're probably gonna get engaged. They probably won't get married right away, but no, they did. And the fact that he was engaged to this river princess for like a decade or how long or even more, I mean, it's insane that now he just got married to a complete stranger when he came out of that situation. That was so funny to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it solved their problems, but I was like, all right. I mean, I guess this is happening now, but did we need it to happen? Like, it was a bit, out of left field
Yeah.
for a storyline, especially in the third book, when things are supposed to be concluding. I mean, I think we're still like not sure if this is like supposed to be the ending, or I heard that the next book is going to happen, but it felt like such a conclusion. But then we kept getting like storylines that were like not really even hinted at. And, I kind of wish that maybe some stuff just like were like not not Oh my gosh, but yeah, it might have been a bit too much content all pushed into this one book, so I just didn't really care about it for
Yeah,
that reason.
I know. I mean, like I said, I thought it was funny when you think about Tyrion's entire situation.
Mhm,
But honestly, yeah, I was like, who is this new character? Why do we need her? Can we just focus on the other characters that we love and get like more out of them instead of like bringing in new characters that we don't really give a shit about? But I don't know. I guess Sarah like will try to do this thing with Tyrion and his new wife. They're probably gonna fall in love eventually, and it's an arranged marriage type of situation. So it's gonna be that kind of a love
mhm.
story. Maybe she really wanted to go in that direction to try something like that. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't care much. Flynn was kind of funny. He really doesn't like his family. He's just like over them. He's like, I don't care. I mean, I love that guy. I hope like in the next book we get his perspective. I wanted his perspective already in this one, but of course I understand that we didn't get it since so much is already happening.
Mhm.
If we got his perspective too, that would be like even a bigger confusion.
Yeah, I feel like it's actually quite a big possibility because for me, I feel like we got quite a lot of hints for him and that dragon lady, and then nothing really happened in this book about him and the dragon lady. So I assume that Sarah won't just like throw the storyline away, like it's probably a setup for the next book. And yeah, I'm assuming we'll just get whole other perspectives with maybe the characters that weren't so present in this trilogy so far. So I think you'll get what you want in the next book. I
Yeah,
hope.
you mentioned when we talked that you think that the next book is going to be about these other characters that weren't, so
Hmm.
like centered in these books. And honestly, after I started thinking about it, I agree because like you said, the dragon lady, she's still out there. I'm really curious about her and I feel like she's going to be Flynn's love interest. So we're probably going to get them and then I suppose we're going to focus on Flynn's sister as well, which means that Therian, he's probably still going to be a big part of the next book. And the same goes for Ethan, because we left him off still kind of lost in his new role. He is like prime now, but he really doesn't know what to do. And another character that I think is probably going to be more important is Ethan's friend, werewolf friend. I think it's gonna be like a love situation going on there, so that's gonna be his love interest. And also, she has a weird thing about her that when he gave her the antidote, she had this specific smell about her. He could smell something different. And then he kept on repeating that the smell was gone and that he'd ask her later about it. And he kept repeating it every time she was there. So that's
Hmm.
intriguing and it makes you wonder what can she do, who is she, what's the point of the smell. So I'm intrigued by that. I want to know more. And also Sigrid, she's still out there. She's still dangerous, so he has to deal with her. So we're probably gonna focus on her too. I don't know. Hopefully not, honestly, because I'm really not into her at all. But yeah, the next book, they're definitely gonna be like around other characters more than Rice and Hunt. I think their story is pretty much
Hmm.
over in a way.
Yeah, I agree. And I also agree about Sigrid. I was actually placing so much hope into that storyline. I was really expecting a lot, but then it felt like it kind of went nowhere. And yeah, I'm disappointed with how that whole thing went. It's like she was only there for Ethan's character development, but then Ethan's character development could have been pretty much done the same way without her even being present. So, what was the reason for introducing another character to this cast that was already like way too long? You know what I mean? So, yeah.
It was pointless, honestly. And now, that she's back as this death stalker, whatever she is. I mean, I
Mhm.
don't know. It's stupid. I mean, now I know we focused on Evelyn, but like since we're talking about this, like let's talk about it so that we can get
Sure.
over it because it's like not that good. So yeah, they pretty much brought her back, but she wasn't back the way they wanted her to be back. She's part, like she's what's the word for it? I can't keep calling her a death stalker.
A fucking zombie.
Yeah, okay. She's
I
a
mean, it's not a
zombie.
zombie, but I imagine her as a zombie,
That's
yeah.
true. Same here. Yeah, so
Hmm.
she's a zombie now, and yeah, Ethan, he feels super guilty, which I get, but also don't care that much. Then, I mean, she basically ends up betraying him because she sides with Sabine. So that was
Mm-hmm.
another blow. She sides with Sabine, and but at least it ended up with Sabine's death. Like she died, the bitch died, and that was amazing. And so
Yeah.
did the astronomer. So I love that, and the fact that she went to the astronomer. What is up with this girl?
I know, right? I was so disappointed. Like, I really hope that we'll get such a good story about, this werewolf, like, getting back her life and everything that
Yeah,
was lost and being like exactly what the werewolves have been waiting for this whole time. And then she was like, oh, no, fuck all of you. Like, I guess gonna betray everyone. Like, I don't, oh, it was just
and it was so
a mess.
random.
Like, I don't even know.
It was so
Yeah.
random because like Ethan saved her life. I really thought that she was gonna be
Mhm.
grateful and everything, and then she was like, "You killed me," and I'm like, "Of course he killed you. You would have killed him. It was like a battle. You were fighting. Like you can't seriously be mad about that. You know, he was forced into that situation. Like, bitch. You know what? How old are
Exactly.
you? I mean." I know she has issues, but the way this was presented, it was just so weird. It wasn't complex. And it ended up with her just being a hypocrite, annoying. Like seriously, this man saved your life and then you run off to the astronomer to get revenge because he killed you by accident, and if he didn't, you would have killed him. Like what the fuck?
And besides that, they were forced into this situation by
Exactly.
Viper Queen. Like, it wasn't even his choice to fight you in the first place. So Ethan feeling guilty about it, Sigrid blaming Ethan for it is just like so stupid. Like, if you think about it for 3 seconds, there was like a cycle manipulating you both into this, basically. So,
Yeah, plus honestly, now that I think about it, like maybe she had a choice. I mean, the Viper Queen, she made a deal with Ethan, right? So she
mhm.
forced Sigrid to actually fight with him, right? I mean, she was just like, now you have to fight Sigrid. And then they just started fighting. And now that I think about it, like, Sigrid wasn't her employee. Sigrid wasn't like loyal to her. She could have
Oh,
said no. Like, what what could she do then? I mean, you know,
yeah, I
it was a
guess.
weird
Yeah, I
situation.
mean, maybe Viper Queen could have like told Sabine about her,
Oh
maybe,
yeah.
but still, like, well,
Ugh,
could have been done better. I agree with you. Yeah, but I mean, at least Ethan is prime now, so
thank
at
God.
least we got that.
That was really
Yeah.
cool. I love that. And also, you know, he has the ability to conjure like snow and stuff. I mean,
Hmm.
ice or whatever. And that's another thing that I wish we would have gotten like a hint of. You know, maybe in the previous book, like I don't know, Ethan looks at Bryce for a second and she is there ice in his eyes? It looks like there's something cold about the way he
Mm,
looks. You know, like a hint, just like a little sentence here and there. Because we got hints about Lydia, for example. You know, she has the
exactly.
fire
Yeah.
affinity. And we have Finn. When she was talking mind to mind with Rune, she basically presented herself in this fiery form. And I
Hmm.
think he also at one point mentioned that he saw like fire in her eyes or something like that. You know, stuff like that. Like give us hints that maybe there's more to, because his ability also came out of left field completely. I didn't mind it honestly because at the end he was more powerful than Sabine and that gave him an advantage.
Fuck yes, finally. I was cheering so hard when she died, but yeah, I was so surprised by the revelation that they have all of these powers that were like hidden from
I
them.
didn't even think about
And
that.
right, yeah, but kind of I'm trying to think if I mind that it wasn't so hinted or if it's actually like not a big deal for me, because I don't know, like we kind of got hints, or it was kind of I guess agreed upon by like the fans that it's probably the descendants of the Fae from Throne of
Hmm.
Glass are what shifters currently are. So maybe if you get this connection, then you think like, okay, but they have superpowers. Why don't they have
Yeah,
superpowers? So maybe you could like guess actually at it, but like I totally didn't, and it totally got me by surprise. But like I don't mind. Like I was like quite shocked to see him, have those powers. So it was like a dramatic moment that I enjoyed. So I
that's
don't
true.
mind it too much to not get a hint for that. And true, for Lydia, it was like pretty cool that we got them.
Yep. I mean, yeah, I know that in Toronto Glass people have powers, but not all of them do. Some Fae, they don't
Mhm.
have these abilities. So that's why I didn't think about it. And I thought to myself, well, if they had more abilities than they do at this point, we would get some hints. You know what I mean? But we didn't. That's why I was kind of maybe annoyed by that, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, I didn't mind it, even though again now every member of this gang is more powerful than we already knew, including Tyrion. When he came like in that battle with his water bursting everywhere, there was like a comment, where did this come from? He wasn't this strong before. And I'm like, of course he wasn't. I'm just like, well,
Uh-huh.
are we gonna like find out that he has the ability to like cause the apocalypse with his water abilities at this point? Like, I don't know. We probably
Mhm.
will.
I mean, if the next books are focused on him even more than those are, then definitely he'll turn out to be some super secret royalty or
Yeah,
whatever. Because
for
like,
sure.
how else? How else
He's gonna be
can
the
this go?
next River King. You'll see. That's
Yeah.
my prediction. Tyrion's gonna be the River King and his new wife, the River Queen. So, just another thing that I want to mention in regards to Ethan, I was surprised that Bryce didn't tell him that they're part Fae, because in the book he didn't know that. He didn't understand where his
Hmm.
abilities are coming from. And I know I commented a part here, elemental power dot dot dot, it shouldn't exist in a wolf, yet there it was. And then I like noted this and said, did Bryce not tell him that everyone's like Fae?
Are you surprised by Bryce
Oh my
not
god.
disclosing information to her friends?
Okay, but like
That's so
when they
shocking.
when they met up, she told everyone everything. I mean, at least I thought she did, but
Okay, yeah.
obviously she forgot this little detail, which is not a detail. Like,
Hmm.
it's important. So it's just like, this man, he doesn't
Hmm.
even know that he's Faye. Damn it. Okay, well, he's in for a surprise.
Okay, yeah, I guess it's more dramatic, from like a writer's perspective to do it that way. But yeah, it's a kind of thing you tell to your friends. Mm-hmm.
And like Hypaxia, she's not queen anymore. So now she's basically
Mm-hmm.
part of this house of shadow, right? And she is
Mm-hmm.
not just that, she's basically took the position of the underking. Oh my gosh, that was, by the way, so good. Jessica really manipulated them into that. She's such a queen. Seriously, Jessica, my
Yeah.
heart, my heart. Oh no, no, let's not talk about Jessica just yet. But yeah, what did you think about that? Hypaxia becoming queen, another type of queen, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, why not at this point? Just disrupt all the hierarchies in the city. Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's do it. Like, I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty cool. And I mean, we also got a chance to talk to Connor because of that,
Oh
which
my
was so
god.
good.
Oh, my baby, my love. Oh no, my heart aches. Oh my god, no, Connor. The fact that he walked into that light, and he, sorry, sorry, guys. If you listen to
Aw.
our previous episode, I'm such a Connor fan. I wish he was still alive. I wish they could have brought him back to life somehow. I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
care. Just like make it happen. But no, he like poured
Hmm.
his second light or whatever into that bullet with the rest of them. And when like Ethan
Hmm.
said, you do make me proud. Every day before now and every day after. Nothing you do will ever change that. And like when he saw
Aw.
him for the first time, oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps right now. Ethan turned, and there was Connor, as vibrant as he'd ever been in life, standing in the temple doorway. Oh my god. And I literally wrote here just OMG. Anyways, and when he said that he should also tell Bryce to make the shot count, I mean, everything about
Hmm.
it was so perfect. And I don't know, it also makes me sad, not just because of the potential wasted between him and Bryce, but because of Ethan. He was his brother, and I can't imagine like
Hmm.
losing my sister or something. I mean, that's just so heartbreaking. And Ethan, he had to let him go. And then he said something like, and just like that, he was gone again. And it was so hard because he was finally reunited with him. He finally had a chance to talk with him. And then he just left just like that. And he's like gone now. He will never be able to see him again unless, well, he dies.
Yeah, oh my gosh. I mean, I am glad that they at least got this moment of
Yeah,
closure, and that,
exactly.
and like the bullet and everything. I am so happy that all of those characters still had a chance to contribute something and to like come
Yes,
back and do, finished, I guess, their stories. So that was really, really nice. And yeah, and at least we now know that in the afterlife, like, they will be reunited. Like, that's a thing.
I'm so
So,
happy we got that.
oh,
I'm so happy we got
mm-hmm,
that. And like again at the end when Bryce was there and she saw them standing on that hill. I mean, what is up with Sarah and these hills and them standing on those hills and waving at her that makes me just stare up immediately. I just oh, I
mm-hmm,
mean, when I saw that
mm-hmm.
again, I just like literally just threw my Kindle and I was so mad. And see, I again here I highlighted it. Far out on a distant hill stood seven figures. Bryce knew them by shape, knew them by their heights and the glow around them. She picked out Connor, dot, 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 and then I can see what it said,
Mm-hmm.
like, Connor, Connor, Connor. And like, I love how Sarah, made this. Danica and Connor, they died in the first book, but they lived on. They
Mm-hmm.
lived on throughout all of these books. They were never forgotten. She kept mentioning them. We grew closer to these two characters, even though they were not even an active part of the story. And I love that so much. It was so well done. So well done.
True. I like that we never forgot, and that it was a huge part of the main character's growth. Like,
Yeah.
it meant so much for Bryce to, go through all of those traumatic experiences, right? So I think there were parts of it that were done very well, but like, I've already spoke about my opinion on Denika's storyline. Like, it got a bit too much for me with just how much hidden secret past she had. It didn't emotionally affect me anymore because I was just like, really, again, like, she did even more things. Of course she did. Like, ugh. So it wasn't
Yeah.
that
Sarah, I
hard
mean, we've
hitting.
talked about this for sure, and I agree with you. Like, Sarah, she really pours some things really strong. For example, this with Danica. She was involved in everything. She knew everything. She had time to do everything, and it was too much. Yeah, it's like at points when you find out new stuff about her, it's not shocking anymore. It's basically like, okay, I'm rolling my eyes at this point. And it's the same way with like these powers that these characters have. Like when you find out that they, I don't know, have ice and fire abilities, you're not anymore, oh shit, what? You're just like, oh, yeah, of course they do. And like now
Yeah.
you see Bryce, I mean, she's not queen, but she's definitely in power. Hypaxia as well, Ethan as well. So when
Hmm.
Tyrion becomes River King, it's not gonna be, oh my god, it's gonna be, well, of course, and she takes away that suspense and that shock element, those emotional elements by making everyone such a big deal. I wish she would eventually see that because I'm getting a bit tired of it. But yeah, and I agree about Danica, but at the same time, I'm just glad that in the other way she was kept alive. These parts bug me,
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
just Bryce remembering their little moments, and you can like feel how much Bryce loves her, and that's why it makes her so important to us too, even if we're annoyed by some of
Exactly.
the storylines.
Yeah. Like how she kept that picture of her and Juniper and
My heart.
Fury and Danica with her. Oh, that was so, so sweet,
Yes,
And the
details like
picture in
that.
her guest room. Yeah,
Yes, and like,
exactly.
listening to music with Nesta, for example, and
Hmm.
remembering Danica and her dancing in a club and stuff like that. That's what counts, that's what I love.
Hmm.
Okay, but we'll get to that too later, to the bonus chapters. I guess we'll just
Hmm.
discuss them real quick in the end. Okay, so let's go back to Bryce and the gang. They arrived in Avalon and they got like the chance to explore a little bit the library, go to the caves and everything, and they split up pretty much. Rune and his
Hmm.
friends and Lydia, they stayed in the libraries, while Hunt and the others, they went to the caves, including Tyrion's new wife went with them. And well, it was kind of fun in a way because later on the Autumn King and the Avalon King, they found them and shit went to
Hmm.
hell. At first, I was mad at Bryce, by the way, because when they found them and they had like Declan and Flynn, they were hostages. And
Hmm.
Bryce, she kind of erupted a ray of light into the wall. And I remember like the wall came crumbling down. And I was just so mad. I was like, well, hello, what about Flynn and Declan? Like, they're there. You can't just do that. And then they jumped into the river. And I was like, well, what the fuck, Bryce? And again, like, Hunt was so mad at her because, again, she did something that she did not inform him about. And I was so agreeing with him there. Like, oh my gosh, just let them in, let them know. I mean, you're affecting them too with these decisions. It's not just about you. At that point, I was a bit upset with her, but I got over it real fast. But still, had to mention it.
Okay, in that moment that you're talking about with her exploding the whole fucking wall and everything, I sort of interpreted it as like she must have more control in what she's doing, you know? Like I was thinking back to the prison and Prithian and how it was kind of described back then like she had like quite a lot of control of her power and what she was doing, so I just assumed that she's like strategically exploding like the rocks that won't hit, you know, her friends. So I wasn't like too worried for Fing and Deck. However, of course it grated my nerves that she just like kept doing things without explaining to her most trusted friends what they actually are. Like, yeah, I as a reader know that like her star like shines and it shows her the way, like a magic GPS, and you know she can control stuff and she knows what she's doing. But what like you have 30 seconds to give the gist to, you know, your companions. Like why not do that like for drama reasons? Like I get it, I love being dramatic, but maybe that's not the time and the place for it, you know. So yeah.
Yep. And anyway, I wasn't also expecting, oh my gosh, everything that went down. I'm jumping all over the place now, but okay, like, ugh, while Rune and his friends were in the library, at the beginning they discovered that there were a lot of like different islands around the islands that they were
Mhm.
on, and now they were gone. So that was a bit weird and a hint for like the future. So, you know, that kind of already told you that something weird is hidden on this island if these other islands they just disappeared, right? But yeah, it was kind of funny that Declan and Flynn were literally kidnapped and Rune didn't even notice. I was just, you really think it's normal that when you're like really here to save the world? I know that Flynn, he's a bit flaky, but Declan, he wouldn't just
Mhm.
miss out on this. And like even Flynn, like he is a joker, but he knows the importance of the situation. And do you think they just didn't come to the library because they what were goofing around? I mean, what were they doing? Playing poker with the weird twins? What? You know, I'm just like, what are you doing? So it was kind of weird, but of course he was just so enamored with Lydia, because that's so true. I think even the King of Avalon, he said something along the lines, you know, he's so occupied with the Hind that he forgot about his two friends. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
much what happened. That's literally what happened. Oh my god.
Exactly. Like he didn't even think that far. He's just like, I'm sure they're doing something. Anyway, Lydia, how are you? Like,
Yeah,
what's good? Like
he was
that.
just happy to be with
I
Lydia,
was
like
like,
they're alone, some alone time and stuff. And I was happy
Mhm.
about it too. I craved alone
Mhm.
time for these two, you know? But yeah,
Mhm.
ugh, okay. Anyways, they were kidnapped pretty much by the Autumn King and he held them there as hostage. And eventually, Rune and Lydia, they also came there to the rescue. And it ended up with Rune freaking killing his own dad, the Autumn King.
Yeah.
And I know that the Autumn King deserved that, but was hurting for Rune because something like this leaves a mark on your soul, you know? Even if he was horrible and everything, I mean, I just felt sad. I feel really sad about stories where family turns against each other, you know, brother against brother, father against son, daughter, stuff like that. It just makes me sad. Like, why does it have to be that way, you know? But at the same time, of course, I hated the Autumn King and I'm glad that he's dead. I am glad. I'm just sad
Mhm.
that it had to be Rune. I don't know, but it was definitely deserving.
Yeah. I understand your perspective, right? Like something like this. Like of course that must fuck you up for life. You know, but also I'm thinking about it more from the perspective that Rune spent basically his whole life being mistreated by this man, and he was, you know, being hurt, being burned, being constantly put down. So God, but of course, that's such a mind fuck because that's still your dad, and like you must still love him, but at the same time, it. I was glad that he got the chance to, like, fucking, I guess, get revenge on how he was being treated. And like at this point, it was clear that nothing can redeem the Autumn King. You know,
Yeah,
like
sadly,
he
yeah.
had chances to become a good dad, to make some amends for everything that he's done, but now it was clear that there's nothing that can change him. So I mean, at least, like, yeah, his kids got the chance to stand up to him, I guess. So from that sense, it was satisfying. But of course, that must have fucked them up. But yeah, ugh. And also in the previous episode, I was trying so hard to act normal and not reveal anything because, oh,
Yeah.
I knew that was gonna happen, and I was just like, just wait till Nina gets there. Holy fuck! Oh my
I
gosh!
was like
Like it
laughing
was,
so
yeah.
hard when I re-listened to our episode after finishing the book, and I was talking about how I guess there's like a 50-50% chance of the Autumn King becoming their ally, or becoming even a bigger enemy. It just depends on where
Mhm.
his head span is at. And you were just like, my face is so red right now, I'm really trying to not say anything, and I'm like, bitch, of course you are. I mean, that was so funny to me because it's not just that he died and became their enemy, it's like Rune killed him. It's even bigger
Mhm.
than just that. So that was so insane. But yeah, like, I'm glad the Autumn King is dead, but that scene didn't hit me in such a satisfying way, I would say, because it was Rune, and that made me sad.
Of course.
But yeah, also Bryce, she ended up killing the other king, even though he basically went on his knees and he was like, fine,
Mhm.
though, but she still killed him. And that's also like something that will stain her soul. I mean, she said so herself. She killed him despite him giving up, but it had to be done. That man was just toxic, and he would be in their way. He would just cause so many problems. She really like saved them a lot of
Mhm.
trouble by doing that. And also, it was so awful in a way when Rune, I mean, awful, it was good, but like awful when Rune, told his dad about the prophecy and that he's going to abdicate
Right.
his throne to Bryce, the queen. And his father, he was so shocked. And Rune basically said that he realizes now that the prophecy doesn't mean that he has to die or not have children. It just means that the prophecy is basically about the male side of their airline, not the female side. And the female, she's gonna be queen. And yeah, that's what happened. Everyone kneeled at the end for Bryce, the queen.
Yeah. Yeah. True. For Rune, that must have been like a very large weight to get off his chest for sure.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm glad that he had that. Oh my gosh. But yeah, as a reader, like we've discussed before, that we pretty much, from the moment that prophecy was even mentioned, like figured out that it just meant like, okay, like you're going to get a different system of government. Like you're not actually dying. So to me, it was not
Yeah.
so it wasn't like shocking. I wasn't like that surprised or that emotionally affected by it.
Hmm.
I get that Room was, but for me, I was like, okay, yeah, I know that. So for readers, it wasn't, in my opinion, that much of a mind-blowing thing, right?
Hmm.
And also Bryce got a chance to save her friends and kill that awful king. Yeah, that was the scene where Bryce was like, you know what, Faye, they might not be so bad after all. Maybe it's just like the kings who are bad and not the entire species. And I want to talk about that
Hmm.
because I am not sure if I missed something or if I did not get maybe some foreshadowing, some emotional journey. So that's why I really want to know your opinion. But for me, it really felt like she just like went full 180 out of nowhere. Like 2 pages ago, she was talking to, Therion's wife, Flynn's sister, like, yeah, fuck all Faye. Like, I hate all of you guys. Like, okay, maybe Rune's alright, but all the rest of you, like, you just like are dirt in my eyes. Like nothing can save you. Like there's no redemption. Like I just hate an entire species of people, and that's who I am. And then like 3 pages later, she was like, actually, maybe some of you guys are okay. And I didn't get this emotional journey in her head. You know what I mean? Like, I am fucking glad she changed her mind, of course, but did you get her thought process? Because for me, it felt like out of nowhere. Like, even in my notes, I was just like, what the fuck? Where's this coming from? I was so confused.
Yeah, like before I came to that part, you already told me about how you felt like it came out of nowhere. And when I read that, I did see your point for sure. But like, if I think about it individually, I don't know if it was like completely unnatural to me, because sometimes in the book she did kind of question stuff, like in the sense, do the Fae even deserve to be united? You know, and it wasn't like they
Hmm.
don't. It she formed it as a question, you know. So she was kind of wondering, which lets you to believe that there's also a part of her that probably does believe that. And also we know Bryce's heart. We know that she, you know,
Hmm.
sometimes say things also out of anger. She felt a lot of resentment towards the Fae for the way she was treated, but that doesn't mean that deep in her heart she actually believed that. And especially because she's such a kind-hearted person, you could say like, no, of course she will eventually change her mind. She's probably just saying these things out of anger. So that's how it felt like to me a lot of the times. And also when she was, you know, faced with these points, like I don't know who told her, yeah, but well, what about Flynn and Declan, and they're also Fae, what about them? And she was like, well, yeah, I know. It told you that she's not even sure herself at that point. She was just angry.
Hmm.
And if you like read the bonus chapters, I mean, I read them at the end, but like if you read them in the middle, you can see that also when she was listening to music to Nesta and Azriel, she was like, well, it seems that also the fate here aren't that bad. Maybe after all, there is a chance of them becoming something more, something better. She stated that in that bonus
Hmm.
chapter. So I think there were times when you could see that she was doubting herself and her belief, but she was just so mad at everyone. So I don't know. I feel like you're right in the sense like her thought process should be more obvious. So I understand where, yeah, like your
Hmm.
opinion that this came out of nowhere is coming from. But at the same time, if I wasn't aware of your opinion, I don't think I would feel like it's completely 180. I don't think I would have seen it that way.
Okay, then it could be just me. I might have misinterpreted things because for sure I know that deep down, like Bryce wants the best and wants to do the right thing. So it was never a doubt in my mind that she will come to this conclusion and come to this realization, right? But yeah, up until this point, I really felt like her mind space was still like, yeah, I mean, Run is school and Nesta is school, but still, I'm not sure if I can trust those pretty young guys. And even in our world, like most of them are still not cool. And I don't care anyway. I don't want to be queen. Like, blah, blah, blah. So again, maybe I just was not paying enough attention or something. But I would have really appreciated getting more in depth into her journey and maybe seeing how she came to those realizations.
I
But
get
like,
that.
of course, I'm glad that she had them. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Makes sense. Okay, so after all of that happened in the caves, yeah, Bryce became queen and everything changed on that island, which was also really cool to see. When they arrived initially, it was all very dark and gloomy. The water was
Hmm.
very dark. The skies, like everything was cloudy. It wasn't, yeah, as they imagined, like it will be like colorful
Hmm.
and dreamy and stuff. But that's exactly how it became after the king died. So that was a really really cool visual. I could like imagine everything changing. And also Bryce at one point had a breakdown, you know, she started crying, and I really loved that moment when Broom came to her and they just kind of hugged it out. Because like, yeah, in the cave they had to be strong and they had to do what they had to do,
Yeah.
but I love that moment of vulnerability where you could see that it did hurt them. I think that was really important because up until then they were all so powerful and they did the right thing and they were proud about it. But when it comes to it, they're
Hmm.
still people and they still feel shit. Even if they do the right thing, it might sometimes in their heart seem like it wasn't the right thing, and it's complex. And I wish we got like also more moments like that in this book, like more vulnerable moments where a character just breaks down and cries. Like I miss that a little bit, but at the same time, so much was happening, so much was going on that I understand that some things had to be, I guess, cut out. I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, this goes back to our complaint of a million story arcs and a million characters being introduced, right? Because if we didn't have Flink's sister, if we didn't have Sigrid, maybe we could have gotten more of those vulnerable moments with the characters that we've already gotten to know and gotten to love. So yeah, I'm kind of sad about that. And it was pretty cool to see, how the entire landscape changed. I was kind of expecting it because it was kind of described in the similar way. The island in which the prison is located is described, and once, they change shit around in the caves, prison changed. So I was like, okay, like we're getting a similar sort of thing here, but it was still satisfying to read, even though like I knew it was coming. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was kind of funny that after that, of course, they had to find accommodations. That castle, it was completely destroyed. And like Baxian, he went around from house to house, and no one, of course, wanted to accept him and stuff. And when Hunt came to him, Baxian was like, "Welcome to Hotel Horseshit." And I love that. It was a funny moment.
Mm,
And yeah, then they kind of had to split up. Basically, Baxian was left in the kingdom so that he could like protect the people, the refugees that were coming their way. Fury and Juniper also joined them. They came on a helicopter, and also they brought Bryce's family with them. So that was a cute reunion. Bryce, she and Hunt, they had to go to Nana. I think it's called Nana, to that really cold place where the Gate of Hell is located
mhm,
at. And she took her parents with her, which honestly was such a weird choice for me. Like from the beginning, I didn't understand why she
mhm.
needed them there with her. And there was also no explanation for that. So I was like, okay, something weird is going on. Plus, why would Bryce take her parents to the Gate of Hell, to a dangerous place? It just doesn't make sense. So I know she was planning some weird shit there. And I was kind of disappointed that Fury never joined them because, like, Fury, she's such a badass. Everyone fears her, even Hunt fears her. And we got nothing out of her. I mean, that's another character that just let me down. We got nothing out of her beyond the point that she's supposedly Bryce's friend and that she's in love with Juniper.
Yes, can we talk about Fury? Oh my gosh. For me, it wasn't Fury who let me down, but it was
Yeah.
Sarajinas who let me down.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, we got introduced to this character who is apparently so powerful and so mysterious and so deadly that everyone besides, like, maybe the Asteri is like shaking in their boots if Bryce even so mentions that
Yeah.
she knows her, everyone's just shitting bricks if they like hear that Fury is around. So, why are you not utilizing your mega powerful badass bitch character in this fight for the survival of the planet? Like in the previous books, I sort of got it. She is mysterious, she is doing her own thing, like there's a bunch of other conflicts going on in this planet, right? So yeah, I get it. She's busy. But like now, this is the conflict. Like no other conflict is as important as this one. And Fury is just like, what? Gonna chill on an island? Like what? Like how does that make sense? Like why is she not out there with them? Since apparently she's so powerful. And I'm also like so sad that we never found out like who she actually is. What her special powers are. Like I thought that this was the book where we find this out, but then we didn't. So that was also like confusing. And yeah, I mean, I sort of thought that okay, Randall is really good at shooting, so maybe
Yeah,
she
true.
needs him. She has like some sort of a plan that involves shooting, and
Mhm.
of course, like her mom won't leave Randall alone to do that, so she has to come along. But I will confess something to you.
Mhm.
I did in my e-reader open up the search tab and search the word Nesta to see if she
Oh
appears
my god!
later on. so, so I kind of did see Nesta's name
Oh my
and
god.
Bryce's mom's name mentioned together, and I was like, "Ooh, okay, it's gonna happen.
Oh
We're
my
not done with these
god.
characters." So I kind of spoiled myself on purpose, but okay, whatever.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I was just so disappointed about, the whole night court plot. I mean, I've expressed this in part one. And it's not necessarily the book's fault. It's maybe more my fault because I had such high expectations. I had so many theories about what was going to happen, how they're going to be bonding and stuff. So I was so disappointed that I didn't even think that they might pop up again. I didn't even think that we might
Mm-hmm.
see them again. I was just like, no, it's over now. We got what we got, and this sucks. And I was just like, fine, fuck Sarah. I'm sorry for, saying that, but no, I'm not. You know, like I
I'm
was,
just gonna cut this out at the beginning of the episode.
yeah, you should. I mean, I'm just being honest. So,
Uh,
yeah, I didn't even think about that. But before we get to that part, I just want to say another thing about Fury that. I mean, I guess it can be explained in a way that someone does have to stay back on the island to help with the people, like someone strong. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Baxian would be enough, honestly. Everyone fears him
mm,
already, and he's a super warrior. Plus, the gates like really warded the island, so no one can really come in if they have bad intentions. So it was just unnecessary. I think Sarah was being a bit lazy with Fury. She had the nerve to introduce like Flynn's sister, and she couldn't focus on Fury on a character that we already know. Flynn's sister is just so random, but Fury, she's been with us from the beginning. So it would be actually much easier to just to build on her a little bit more,
mhm.
to make her a bigger role.
Of course, I get it. It really felt like Sarah just got bored of certain characters and certain storylines, and it was just more interesting for her to get some new people in. But as readers, that's a bit confusing, and it's a bit sad that we didn't get to see like good conclusions for everyone we met at the beginning. So
Yep,
that could have been planned a bit better from the start. It's, I guess, my point.
I agree. Okay, yeah. So before they left, Ethan and Hypaxia also arrived on the island. They had to find Sophie's body. They needed a Thunderbird
Hmm.
of their like experiment that they had going on about Sigrid, I think, right? So Jessica, she found out that Sophie's body was in Avalon. Anyways, they arrived and it was so funny because they didn't like no shit. They didn't expect their friends to be there, and Bryce was all of a sudden queen, and they were like, what the fuck is going on? So it was cool. Bryce explained everything to them, and it was kind of sad that they arrived and then they have to like leave half an hour later because Bryce pretty much told Hypaxia that they need an antidote for whatever was in their water,
Hmm.
the virus. And it was also kind of sad that Hypaxia didn't get the chance to even talk with Lydia. I really wanted like oh my gosh, I'm just now realizing we didn't even get a reunion between these two, like a normal reunion. Oh my gosh. And I really wanted that. And I'm just now realizing it. And I'm so mad at this moment. Like, yeah, we never got like them just facing one on one and just talking it out and just saying things that need to be said. Like, it didn't have to be a long discussion, just something nice and
Hmm.
short. So, yeah, and then they left really fast. And yeah, we didn't get that. And also, like, now that I've mentioned Lydia, she had to leave her two sons behind on that ship, which was sad. One of them, he was kind of nice to her. The other one was kind of all mean and stuff. And she really had to struggle with that after they got back. And Rune was there for her. They talked about it. And eventually they also, decided they're going to be a thing. And they're just so amazing. I kind of really had high hopes for them also. I mean, I said this in part one that I really want more of Lydia and Rune. And got
Hmm.
more, of course, but it wasn't. I wanted still more. I guess I wanted to feel more tension. I wanted Lydia to be angry at him for a little bit longer, I think. But since we didn't get that much content from them, I think Sarah had to really speed it up. But yeah. See, if we didn't focus on Tyrion and his random bride, we could get more of Lydia and Rune.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I was enjoying Lydia and Rune so much. That was just my favorite storyline, just how they opened up to each other,
Yeah.
how they trusted each other, how they had all of those conversations. That was my favorite part. I really, really enjoyed them both as characters. And as I said, I was just like reading this book, like I couldn't stop. I was so enjoying myself while I was reading it, and I kept reading it super, super fast until we got that moment where Rune fucking shot her. That I like closed it. I had to like walk around the room for a while and then like sit down, like stare at the wall, contemplate my life. And after that, like I couldn't look at the book the same. Like, what the fuck was that? Can you explain to me what the fuck was that? Because what the fuck was that, Nina? That disappointed me so much.
I was like, don't do this, Rune. Don't be an alpha hole in the worst way possible. I mean, it's complex because Lydia really wasn't thinking normally at that point, but at the same time, like, Rune, what are you gonna do on your own? Like, how is this any better? How does this make sense? How?
No, no. And they ended up in the same situation he was trying to prevent. Like, there was this quote, like, I was trying to prevent this tragedy that still happened. Like, bitch, of course it still happened.
That was
It was going to
unnecessary.
happen.
It was
Oh,
so unnecessary. She,
no.
like, Sarah could have just written in the way that they went there together and met up. It didn't need to be that way. And also, it didn't serve anything because at the end, Lydia forgave him really fast, you know, because he helped with her kids. So it's like there was no point to this at all. Some decisions that the author made in this book are just beyond me. So unnecessary.
I'm still sad about that because it lowered my opinion of Rune. It lowered my enjoyment of this relationship. And that was like the best part of the book for me up until that point. So, God, like, why did you have to disappoint me like that? Oh my gosh.
I
Okay.
mean, in
Yeah,
my
go on.
case, it didn't lower my opinion of them or anything, but of Sarah. Again, like, she's just her decisions, you know, this doesn't make sense. But okay, let's just go back a little bit. I want to
Of
go back
course.
to Bryce and Hunt now, just for a second. They went to Nana with her parents and they opened a portal, not to hell, but to Prithian, pretty much, to Nesta's room,
Mm-hmm.
to be specific. And I really like the fact that Bryce got this kind of a nice ending with Nesta. You know, Nesta, she really realized at
Mm-hmm.
that point that Bryce means what she says. I mean, she was willing to give her parents up, for God's sakes. And of course, she took them in. She also gave her the mask, thankfully. And that was such a good moment. I really, really liked that. I was so happy when Nesta showed up. I was screaming. I was like, "What, Nesta? My baby girl! I missed you!" And I was so happy that we got something more. Nesta, like, seriously, she's my favorite. Like, nothing, no one can change my mind now at all after this Crescent City book. And yeah, it was kind of sad for Bryce because she really knew that her mom should never forgive her. And yeah, she really took the choice away from them. But I get her at the same time
Mm-hmm.
because they're humans. Like, they're humans. What can they do in this war with these all powerful, mighty beings? Like, sorry, it just, they can't do shit. I'm sad to say that, but it's true. Also, I'm just kind of sad that she didn't take Cooper. I mean, Cooper is their son after all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's, yeah, it's a complex situation, but I get her. I would also be scared for my parents, and I would also want to keep them safe in this situation.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you could say that it was a bit selfish because how many humans are suffering,
Hmm.
but you'll help, like, but like, who wouldn't do that?
Of
Like,
course,
everyone, I think, would do that. So
we're all selfish in that
yeah,
way.
yeah, of course, when it comes to our loved ones. So, like, I don't hold it against her. And of course, like, it would be better to tell them what's going on, but then, like, would they agree?
No.
Like, sit down to this conflict? Like, no way.
Hmm.
So it was like a super selfish decision, but at the same time, like, the reason for it was like the care for her loved ones. So, like, I cannot be mad at that. So, like, I'm glad that she took care of them for sure. Yeah,
Agree.
that we got to see Nesta again.
Yeah, yeah. It was really good because she also used the mask then to defeat the harpy, who was brought back to life. I mean, not really,
Hmm.
but she was a zombie. So yeah, she defeated her. And at the middle of the fight, I think Celestina, Isaac, and that other person came. I was so happy to see Isaac, by the way. I kind of missed him. I really liked him in the first book, and I wish we got more out of him too. So I was happy that he was
Hmm.
back. And also, it was kind of funny when Bryce decided to send Rune and Lydia and the gang to the city to get him, actually, to recruit him.
Yeah.
And Rune was like, when she was like, "You have to go to that, there," and he was like, "To die?" Because gonna happen if we go to that freaking city, and Isaac, he's never gonna, be on our side. But of course, that's not true. Anyways,
Yeah.
Celestina, we also found out that she's very regretful about what happened. Of course, she is.
Hmm.
And oh my gosh, Hunt was so badass in that moment because he literally unlocked this power in him and he destroyed the freaking halo he had on his forehead. And he did the same for Isaac. And Isaac, the poor bastard,
Fuck
was
yes.
so in shock. He just couldn't move. He was just staring. What the fuck just happened? And Celestina was like, "That's not possible." And I remember this so well when Hunt said to her, "I suggest you run." And I was just like, "Yes, bitch." Sorry, I'm sorry, guys. Oh my gosh. Hopefully your earbuds are all right. But I can't deal because this is off topic a little bit. But I don't know if you remember, but in Sense8, there was that guy, the
Mhm.
white haired one that was hunting all of them,
Yeah.
the guy. And then Will, at one point, he got the upper hand. And he was so scared and he was shitting himself into before he was such a badass. And then Will
Mhm.
was like, you thought you were hunting us? Well, now we're coming for you. And then end of scene
Fuck
and end of
yes.
episode, and I died. And this was that moment. This was that moment. I suggest you run.
Mhm.
And I just imagined him. Oh my gosh, so hot. Like I'm getting goosebumps right now. I love moments like that. But of course, everything turned out fine. She said that, she's not going to do anything. She even said that she'll let them open the gates. Bryce kind of calmed him down and told him, like, just let her be. We might use her,
Mhm.
and that's true. She's an archangel, and they did. So, yeah. And Isaac, he was the one that ended up being in charge of the Fallen. That was also a part of Bryce's plan to raise the Fallen with the man
Mhm.
and basically put their essence into those robots. So that a genius plan. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna go into details because I know I don't understand anything really, but like it's good. Worked out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was kind of sad because at the same time, Hunt was kind of unsure about that. He wasn't sure if he wants to put them in that situation again, for them to die over again in this war that they might not even win. But it turned out for the best.
Exactly. Like, at least they had the chance to finish what they started
Exactly.
and what they sacrificed themselves for, you know?
Hmm.
So that was, I'm sure, like a full circle moment
Hmm.
and quite badass, right? So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. And yeah, it turned out that Celestina is kind of on our side and she's remorseful, which I know, like, sure, I'm grateful for her, but yeah, whatever. You know, I'm still annoyed, but like I'm not annoyed to the point that Hunt is annoyed, where was about to kill her.
Yeah.
Like I won't trust you anymore, but like I I won't murder you. You know, you're welcome. That's kind of how I felt, right? But yeah, like Hunt just. He was so badass at that moment, and that was so deserved. Like him and Isaac being free finally, and Hunt did it himself. You know, he didn't need anyone else to like come in and like remove the statue. Like the power was always in him, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Fuck
I
yes!"
wish I
Like,
wish he knew that sooner though. I mean, the Hell Princess, they could have like told him sooner. Like he could have had that removed so much sooner.
yeah. Oh, you're right. I mean, from the sense that we needed a character journey and development at the moment where he finally felt like he has achieved his full potential or whatever. Like, good, enjoyed it. But oh my gosh, I mean, what the fuck? Why were the Princes of Hell like such dramatic bitches for no reason? Yeah, I mean, how do you feel? How do you feel about Hunt's parentage and the Hell storyline
I
overall,
mean,
I guess?
I knew there was like more to that, of course. I knew that Hell was a part of him. I mean, I thought maybe like that Apollon or someone was literally his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't that surprised by that. I also wasn't that invested into it because, we already got so many hints about it. This could have been revealed sooner. Yeah, I don't really have much of an opinion. I was kind of annoyed at Hunt because he was so mortified that he had something of hell in him. And at that point, I was like, why are you mortified? We already know that these are actually the good guys. They're literally the saviors.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that you've thought for a long time that they're actually evil and they have demons and all of that. But like now, so just stop being dramatic and be like, hell yes, I'm even more powerful than I thought I was. Fucking yes, I can help save everyone. Fucking yes again. Just stop being so dramatic. It's like that part with Rice when I told you that I was glad that she accepted her princess heritage and just used it to her advantage. For example, when she felt Juniper, she didn't feel sorry for herself. And this is exactly what Hunt was
Mm-hmm.
doing in the situation. He was like, oh no, a part of hell is in me. What am I? And I'm like, oh my gosh, don't be dramatic. We know that hell is the good guy and you're even more powerful. Just embrace that power and be a badass and shut the fuck up.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I did kind of expect that one of the scary demon dudes was just his dad. So the fact that it was a bit more complicated, like test tube baby thing, like, sure, I did not expect that, but also like, okay, I mean, fine. You're all magical beings. You're all like mythological creatures. So at the end of the day, I wasn't like feeling that shocked
Hmm.
at the revelation. And also, yeah, like we already know the Hell fights on the good side, like their entire life mission now is to rid the universe of the Asteris. So, I mean, I get that, finding out that your entire existence was like a fucking science experiment, like that's a bit of like a mindfuck. But the fact that your heritage is from this planet, like it wasn't like bad, I
Yeah.
guess, I suppose. So I don't know, she could have handled that better for sure. Yeah.
Yep, yep. But it was cool to find out that the Thunderbirds, they're actually of a similar heritage.
Hmm.
Because yeah, their powers, if you think about it, are really similar to Khan's. I like already made that connection before. I was like, well, this is really similar. Does it have like anything to do with the other?
Mm.
So here we found out that yes. I feel bad for them that they're all instinct though. Maybe there's some like Thunderbird hiding somewhere and they're still alive, hopefully. Like how do they know that all of them are instinct? They didn't know about Sophie. She was
Hmm.
still there. But yeah, okay. While Rune and Lydia, Declan Flynn were in the city, they found out that Rune's kids were taken hostage by Pollux. He found them somehow and took them. So, of course, they had to go into action a bit prematurely, sadly. But, of course, they had to rescue her kids. She was completely panicked. They went into the building while Declan and Flynn, they were kind of driving around in their van. Soon after that, we talked about this before, Rune shot Lydia because they found out by the mystics that Pollux was holding her children captives in that base, like
Hmm.
underground somewhere. Bryce and Hunt, oh my gosh, that's so good. They freed the wings so that their like
Hmm.
spirits of the fallen could find the robots. That was really good. And yeah, soon like the fight began with the main Steri, Regulus. Yeah, what did you think about that fight? How did you like it?
I was entertained. It was a Sarah J. Maas type of finale where shit is going down.
Yeah,
So I enjoyed it. I also enjoyed that they managed to outsmart him a little bit. Like he was like, "Ha, you didn't think
that was
about the
good.
fact that you're leaving the portal unattended." And Bryce was like, "Fuck you, no, we did think about that. It's shit." So that was like fun, but also it wasn't like that surprising either. I mean, it's not really like the kind of strategy to like make sure you're keeping some soldiers in like a space that's vulnerable to attack. So I also didn't think that it was like so genius of Bryce to outsmart him.
Of
That
course.
like if anything, he wasn't being smart. you know.
I agree that it wasn't that smart. Like, of course, you're going to leave soldiers there. But at that point, I was kind of convinced that Sarah made the stupid decision, that literally they didn't think about leaving soldiers there. And when Regulus said he sent an army to the portal, and I was like, oh my gosh, you bitches were so stupid that you didn't leave anyone to guard the portal. Are you kidding me? So I was so happy that it turned
Uh,
out that they weren't that stupid. So I was kind of surprised in a positive way. I guess I underestimated them a bit.
Another thing I want to mention in that fight was the storyline of Ethan and Therian and how they were on this little quest to get the fucking potions out that Hypaxia somehow made in 2 hours, even though this parasite was apparently on their planet for 15,000 years and no one has discovered it and no one has ever made any kind of cure for it. And it was completely untraceable for this whole time. But now, sure, she's going to just make an antidote in 2 hours. That makes sense, of course.
But I mean,
Plot thing,
I mean,
plot thing.
but no one really looked into it. No one knew it was there. You know what I mean? No one thought about it.
But how did we figure out what kind of shit is in our waters? Like, we didn't know, but then
Yeah, true. I
chemists
mean,
figured it out.
surely someone tested water at one point in their life. True.
I know, right? And if it's that untraceable and that undetectable, like I would imagine it's also hard to defeat it, hard to create a way to not be affected by it. So, but of
But
course, in two
honestly,
hours you can figure
honestly,
it out.
that kind of made sense to me that the dead, they don't have that parasite in them. So
Hmm.
in their like blood, I mean their blood, I don't know how that works, but like in their body there's something different. And no, I
Hmm.
don't know, I'm not a scientist, I don't know what I'm talking about, but like I guess if you find a subject that doesn't have the parasite and compare it to the one that does, you can like see what's different. And
Sure. No, that yeah, Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm just laughing too.
I think this. Oh God, this book broke our brains.
Yeah,
But I mean, for sure, that was smart thinking, and that was a smart first step. But like the next steps, usually other planet take sciences months to years
of
to
course.
figure out.
Yeah,
But I mean, plot plot reasons. We needed that to happen so fast. But I mean, it wasn't perfect. It was like super unstable. There could have been consequences. So, of course, she didn't do it perfectly. So, at least there's that. But then their fucking genius idea for saving the world was to pack them in fragile, easily breakable containers, not even in bubble wrap or anything, and set them across the planet in like backpacks with utilitarian instead of, using telecommunications technology known as texting to send Bryce their location and she can teleport. Like, bitch, Bryce can teleport. She could have just shown up in Hypaxia's lab, took a shot of that potion, and been super powerful and be able to teleport even better. What
true.
the fuck?
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about the fact that if she just took the shot, she could teleport better. I mean, I just kept thinking like they were always repeating how she has to save her power for the big battle. And it makes sense. Like, no matter how
Hmm.
powerful you are, you still have to like really take advantage of all of your juices at the
Hmm.
moment that matters. You know, you can't just be out there doing stupid shit for no reason. But this wasn't stupid. This was pretty important. And exactly, if she took a shot, like she would have been even more powerful. She would have been unstoppable. So I
Hmm.
agree. It was worth kind of, risking it for a shot of that potion. And she could have brought everything back with her through. Also, like in
Hmm.
regards to the packaging, I think that like for chemistry reasons, you have to keep certain substances in certain types of environments. So maybe for this substance, it was necessary to keep it in that kind of an environment. But that doesn't mean that they could have like packed it a bit better instead of like a backpack in a, I don't know, something that contains it a bit better, that it makes it more safer for some reason, that it doesn't like move around or something. I mean, I'm sure that there exists something for that.
Yeah, like they invented fucking fighting robots. Like I'm sure they have some
Exactly.
bubble wrap in this world,
Exactly.
or like
Yeah.
styrofoam or something. Like, come on,
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
So when the antidotes broke and everything, I was just like, well, yeah, of course, the so
Hmm.
annoying, annoying for sure. But yeah, we should probably mention that yeah, after Rune shot Lydia, Tyrion found her and he gave her thankfully the antidote that he had left, and her powers, fire abilities, they were awoken, and she murdered Pollux's ass, and it was great and it was satisfying, and I'm
Yes.
happy that she was the one to do it.
Exactly. Like that should Bryce should have teleported to Hypaxia's lab, carefully held the container of the potions, and then like went around teleporting to each of her gang members and had them drink that potion, and then Lydia would have been able to kick his ass and Rune wouldn't have had to shoot her.
I mean,
I'm
he
still
didn't
mad
have to
about
shoot
that.
her at all, but yeah, I know, I know, I know. That was
Yeah, I'm
unfortunate.
sorry. Like I won't let that go.
I know, I know. And yeah, she also ended up killing Danica's biological father and gang of those
Hmm.
dread wolves. Rune was willing to sacrifice himself. He was willing to like give himself over to Pollux in exchange for her kids. But of course, I was like, why doesn't Pollux just kill all of you right there? So of course, that was his mindset too. That's what he tried to do. But yeah, too late.
And Lydia also fought alongside the Sprite Queen and the sprites
Yay!
that we met before. So, all the promises that she made to them, like they came true and they also had her back. And that was so satisfying to me. Like how they just like melted those
Oh my
fucking
gosh. So
machines. Yeah,
badass.
it's so cool.
They were
Hmm.
so badass. I love these little sprites. They're firecrackers, literally. And
Hmm.
I'm glad that after Lehiba, we got them back. We got the sprites back because they're adorable.
Hmm.
It would be a waste if we didn't. And yeah, Arian was also shot, but he was healed by Rune, right? How was he healed by Rune? He also
Yeah.
got the antidote, or
Yeah, he got the antidote, and turns out he has healing powers, right?
of course he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Or someone definitely has healing
Yeah,
powers.
anyway, Therian was killed. Of course he was. And Lydia was like, I will forgive you if you take care of my kids. So that's
Mhm.
what he did. Anyways, then they all kind of returned back when the portal was opened.
Oh my gosh, like portals situation, like the fucking black hole within a black hole. Did you get what was going on? Because I was reading, I was like, well, something's happening. But I don't know what.
That was so confusing to me. I mean, I guess that is the nothingness that they were talking about. It is the black hole, and their light, they can't really do anything in that
Hmm.
kind of a space. But yeah, that was just so weird. I don't know. It was a weird situation, but I'm not sure if it's a negative weird, you know? Yeah, I knew she was gonna get rescued, of course. And it was intense when she was like kind of struggling with Regulus. You know, they were both kind of struggling, and then she kind of just held to him so that he couldn't escape. So she was basically willing to sacrifice herself so that he ends up being killed. And it was such a good moment before that happened when she shot the shot, you know, because they told
Hmm.
her that it's a kill switch for their entire world. And she still shot the shot. And I was so happy about that. And I was really happy that the dead sacrifice wasn't in vain, especially Connors and the Pax. They were in that shot and it paid off. But yeah, like, I don't know about the black hole. It was a weird situation.
Yeah, well, I guess you have to keep stakes higher and higher in each series. So, like, we're at this point now that there are black holes in the fucking finale fight. So, I mean, where she's gonna go from here, I have no idea. Maybe the universes will start exploding, but I mean, I guess we'll see.
Anyways, Hunt was trying to save
Hmm.
Bryce. Of course, he ended up saving her, but she was actually dead. She was just too long without oxygen. And that's when Jessica arrived and she just sacrificed herself in order to save Bryce. She, of course, as we knew all along, cared about Bryce so much more than she was letting on. And she understood that now in this new world, her books will finally be safe. And that's what she fought for all along. And she lived for 15,000 years. Like, that's a really long time to live. So she was kind of prepared to go. And it was satisfying in that end. It was bittersweet for sure. Jessica's such an
Hmm.
interesting character, but I understood her. She just wanted to go in peace and to do something that would make her proud of herself in a way. And they had that last conversation in the afterlife, and that's where Bryce saw the pack, and she also saw Lahiba, not just the pack. Lahiba was there floating too with them. I'm so happy that they're all together, and hopefully, like Lahiba is getting along with Danica more now, because before they always fought.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm glad it turned out that this heavenly place with the hill is actually real because in book two, I just figured out that since we found out that those dead islands are actually, you know, a ploy. I figured out that that was just like an illusion that Bryce was shown, but in reality, like nothing like that exists. And I was like kind of mourning, all of those characters all over again. So
Yeah.
I'm happy that that is actually what happens in the afterlife. So I'm happy that they'll get that conclusion.
Hmm.
But yeah, as far as Jessica goes, I wasn't even like sad because as you said, it was satisfying. Like she had this life purpose that she finally fulfilled, and
Hmm.
after so many thousands of years of being alive, it felt like she was finally happy to
Yeah.
let go, and she did what she was there to do. So I was actually like quite happy with how her storyline ended. Also, like her curse probably specified that she was to live until like that fucking demon found out what the books were for. So I guess like he found out they were just books. Fuck off. So
But I mean, that's what
so
she told him before too, that they were just books. So did he
yeah.
really find out? You know what I mean?
I mean, kind of, but also like now they're saving the world from the asteroid. Like
Yeah,
if there was any time a moment to use her secret weapon, it would be here. So
true.
that like shows that I guess she was telling the truth to
Yeah.
him. So we got that conclusion. That was good for me. But Bryce, dying and coming back to life. Did we not get enough of those exact endings for other characters already in other series? It loses whatever shock factor it
Of
had.
course,
Like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, fucking course she's gonna die in space and then she'll gonna come back. Sure, whatever. Like,
I know.
it wasn't that big of a deal.
I agree with that, but I guess we needed Jessica somehow sacrificing herself, and if she sacrificed herself, it would have been for Bryce, I guess. But also, like when she was dead, it was sad to see here the scream that Kate out of Hunt shook the very world, and I can imagine him just screaming like a part of him was dead. And then he told her, I didn't know that Bryce meant so much to you. And Jessica was like, of course she does. Do you know how hard it is to find a competent assistant? I just love her
Exactly.
and I literally put a note here, oh my gosh, bless her. Because
Yeah, I
seriously,
love her so much.
these little quotes that she has, amazing.
And same for Ethan, like, she had him pack all of those boxes, whatever. But at the same time, their whole conversations were basically just like her hinting at him, like, bitch, you should be prime.
Yeah,
Like, what are you doing
all
here?
the
Like,
time.
go. Like, it was so obvious for her that that's what's going to happen, that she was like motivating him a little bit.
And
I
I
love
love
that.
the bond that kind of developed between Ethan and Jessica.
Hmm.
They really became friends, and she really told him shit that she hasn't told anyone before. I was like, that's
Hmm.
these two, maybe they're mates, you know? But like, I don't want them to be mates because
No.
fucking mates, right? I mean, let's talk about
Oh.
that. Of course, at one point, Rune was like, because she's my mate, you bitch. I'm like, of course she is. Of course she is. I mean, that's my prediction in the previous episode.
Mhm.
See, and this is another thing. When everyone is mated to each other, it just loses its value. It's not romantic anymore. It's not shocking anymore. It's not surprising anymore. It just is. We knew it. It takes away that little
Mhm.
charm that having a mate has in books. It's not it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I even highlighted the one part where everyone was thinking there was a word for how he was feeling,
Yeah.
but it
Same.
it was eluding him at this point, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like I know what that word is.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. So,
Oh my god. Just rolling my eyes hard.
yeah, we're not a fan of those storylines. We've already
Yeah.
established
We're
that.
not. It's too much. It's too much.
Mhm.
Okay. And yeah, after she was brought back to life, she eventually went back to Nesta so that she could get her parents back. And we realized that Nesta and her mom, they really bonded. Her mom like kept hugging her. Nesta had like kind of teary eyes when she left. And we find that out in the
Mhm.
extra chapter. We're going to discuss that at the end. And also there's something interesting maybe for the Akatar books that Bryce says to Nesta. She says, I think that 8-pointed star was tattooed on you for a reason. Take that sword and go figure out why. So this 8-pointed star is gonna play something more in Akotar, I guess. And it's so interesting that
Mhm.
it seems like Nesta's so she's really centered in this book. It makes me think like, will she have a really important part again in the next book of Akotar? Like it's probably gonna be Azriel's book, and since they seemed to have
Mhm.
developed a friendship, I think she's gonna be pretty important. But yeah, let's save that
Probably.
for another discussion when we talk about Akotar theories again. Yeah, and anyway, Bryce did what we also predicted she would do. She basically broke the hierarchy. And there was like
Mhm.
this quote that I really liked when she kind of addressed the Fae. She was like, but you're in the mud with the rest of us now, Bryce said to the Fae as she signed her name. Better get used to the smell. And I love that so much. I was like, yes, bitches, better get used to the smell, okay? Like, you're not that important anymore. Goodbye.
Mhm.
Then, thus, with the stroke of the Autumn King's golden pen, the royal bloodlines of the Fae were wiped from existence. And I'm like, again, hell yes. And the fact that she used the Autumn King's, golden pen, I love that.
Yeah. I mean, it was quite a cute and badass moment. And of course, something that Bryce would do. Just dress in a cute outfit and be like, fuck all of you. Like, you're not royalty anymore. Peace out. Like,
Peace out.
it was such a Bryce thing. Yeah.
Love her.
I like that.
Yep. And I love that we kind of concluded the book with a funny moment because Baxian, he called them and he was panicking and everyone was like,
Hmm.
shit, what's going on now? What's happening now? Something bad again. And
Hmm.
he was just like, Baxian choked on the word There are about 2 dozen of them. And Bryce, she's just like completely confused and she was like, them? And it's so funny because he was just so stressed. He didn't even tell them what he's talking about. He was just like, there are 2 dozen of them. Please come help me. Baxian said miserably, we'll be there by dawn, Bryce said. Oh my gosh, poor dude has to deal with these beautiful magical horses. Poor guy, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's good for Bryce. Like, I just imagine how happy she'll be, hanging out with those horses.
Exactly. And she was so sad,
Good
like
for
when she
her. Oh my
discussed them
god.
before, she said how they're probably extinct because of that stupid queen. So I'm glad that they're
Hmm.
still, hanging around.
Yeah, and also about the ending, like now we're getting really, really into ending,
Mhm.
but I loved so much that pretty much the last paragraph started with there was an angel in her office and a Pegasus heard on a Avalon. But like there was an angel in her office is the important part because that's basically how the first book started. The first book's first line is yeah, just a second. There was a wolf at the gallery door. So that was such a full circle moment and I was
Oh, I didn't think about
so
that. That's so cute.
mhm.
I love
I
that.
love those sort of connections, those sort
Yes.
of parallels when writers take the time to think through
Yeah,
that. Good. I love that.
I love that too. I agree.
Mhm.
Okay, so we basically discussed everything of importance that happened in this book, but now we're just going to focus a little bit on the extra chapters. Honestly, just so you know,
Mhm.
I read just the ones with the Night Court gang.
Same.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, so the first one that I read was with Ember and Brandel, her parents. I was really happy that we got that perspective. It was so good seeing that and seeing how, when Bryce got them back, that there was an attachment between Nesta and Ember. And again, Rysand annoyed the fuck out of me. I was like, what is going on? It seems that like I don't know, Sarah, she's obviously in love with Rysand in a way because of the way she describes him, how beautiful and powerful he is, and she's been doing that throughout the whole Akatar series. But now she's going in a different direction because she seems to like really describe him in a way that makes us dislike him. She did that in A Court of
Mhm.
Silver Flames, and now she's doing it again. And I just highlighted this part. I had every right, Nesta countered icily. The Trove answers to me, obeys me. And he was like, you transfer the deadly weapon into the very world where the enemies who have been seeking it have been camped out for millennia, right into the hands of the one person who could open a portal to our world would have a thought. What were you thinking? The last words were a roar. And then the other male in the room murmured, Reese. Low, vicious snarl was the only reply. And I'm like, what is this behavior? If anyone talked to
Mhm.
Farah like in this way in front of him, and also Cassian annoyed me too because he didn't stand up for Nesta, and then later on we find out that he actually agrees with Reese, and I'm like, why is no one trusting Nesta? I mean, she knows what she's doing. Like, she would never jeopardize your world on purpose. She's the one that killed, like in the Akator book, she helped kill the most important villain and everything, and
Mhm.
I was just so annoyed. Just let her be. And the fact that Cassian, I don't know, he seems like he's in a relationship with Reese at this point.
Oh, I mean, sure, I'm trying to keep in mind the fact that we know Bryce, we know what she's like, we know that she'll try her best to keep everyone protected and save everyone. So I'm trying to tell myself, of course, those people don't have that information. And of course, as a leader, as a ruler, you'll try to care for your people first and foremost. But even if he thought that Nest is fucking up, like that's not the way to go about it. That just annoyed me that we got so many descriptions about how he's this like chill and cool dude who has this court where everyone feels safe and everyone can do what they want and he can hold like normal level-headed conversations, and then each time he actually has a conversation, like that's not how it goes. So
Yeah.
I don't know what Sarah's thought process here is, like what's next for this character. I feel like it could be very interesting, if we go in the direction that's like, I feel like it could be done interestingly, but then at the same time it could not be. So I guess we'll find out depending on the next books what my opinion on Resent is. Like as a person and as how well written he is. Like those are like kind of separate things for me. But
We'll see.
yeah, like now I was just annoyed. But like I'm glad that, Randall and Bryce's mom they were just like eating chocolate cake and hanging out. That was like so cute for me. And the
Yeah,
bond that Nesta had, because she didn't have like a maternal figure in her life, and she got to like at least experience a little bit of having like a good positive mother figure. Was so
exactly.
sweet.
And I
Hmm.
had to highlight this. But Amber refused to move even as a part of her quailed in terror and said, Nesta made a choice to harbor us. She made a choice to give Midgard a shot at freedom, to give my world hope. What kind of person are you to rip her to shreds for it? And that's exactly
Exactly.
my point. Like, this is something that I mentioned in part one. The way the Night Court is behaving here, it's like they would literally let these people die. They would let an entire world die. Rysand, with a flick of his finger, could help them. He's so strong. I mean, even
Hmm.
Ember said that the power that this man has, the Autumn King doesn't reach his knees. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? He's so freaking powerful. He could help them so much, and yet they're just being paranoid and scared and whatnot. And literally, this is what Nesta did. She felt that she could trust Bryce, and
Hmm.
Nesta's a good judge of character. She's not freaking stupid, and she wanted to give them a fighting chance. And here he is, like, basically tearing her to shreds for it. And Cassian, like, based on what she said, he's even angrier with her, which is so ridiculous to me.
Fuck.
I mean,
Yeah.
Cassian, she's your mate. You're supposed to know her inside and out. You're supposed to, I don't know, like, at least that we can give that to Reese. No matter what Farah did, he was always somehow on her side, always trying to understand her. And Cassian here, to me, didn't get that much, so I can't be too mad at Cassian. But like, honestly, it felt like he didn't even try since he was so angry at her.
Fuck. You're right. I didn't think about it that way,
Oh,
but
Nesta's so
of
mistreated. It
course.
pisses me off. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Hmm.
And after Ember tells her that, they basically go hand in hand to the table so that they can eat breakfast together or something. And that's how this chapter kind of concludes, with like Sarah J. Maas letting us know that they're going to become besties. And I really hope that somehow they get to see
Hmm.
each other again.
Hmm. Yeah, I hope that there's somehow still a connection between those universes or something.
Yeah,
But
I mean, Bryce, like, I don't know,
yeah.
Amber could be like, I'm really missing Nesta. Can you, like, open a portal just so I can say hi? And I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I see that
Yeah.
happening. Why not, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Can someone throw Nesta a phone with a Spotify subscription on it?
Exactly.
Because, oh my
I
gosh, the
really hope
girl
that
deserves it.
happens. Really do hope that happens. And then the other chapter that we got, I also enjoyed so much. Oh my gosh. So pretty much Bryce showed Nesta her music, classical music, every genre there is.
Hmm.
And this is the part that I laughed the most at. So Bryce laughed. Are you a club rat, Azriel? He glowered at her, earning a smirk from Nesta, but Bryce played one of her favorite dance tunes, and as three of them walked into the endless dark, she could have sworn she caught Azriel nodding along to the beat. And that was such a cute thing to imagine Azriel like really enjoying club music, because we don't know much about Azriel. And then the last paragraph in the chapter is, and with each mile onward, she could hear Azriel humming to himself. The rolling wild melody of Stone Mother softly flowed off his lips, and she could have sworn even the shadow danced at the sound. And I love that because
Oh,
he's a
nice.
shadow singer, and his shadows, they literally move and they dance. And oh, I got goosebumps right now.
Yeah, I love the chapters, and reading it was so fun to me because literally in the Silver Flames, back before I knew anything about Crescent City, like I wrote down, like I was imagining like what it would be like if those characters could hear our sort of music, could hear like club music. Like I was literally like thinking that like someone give Nest the Spotify. And the fact that I was reading a chapter where this was actually happening
Yeah,
was so funny to me.
right. Oh my god.
So like I'm glad I'm glad that like they got to experience it. And also the fact that Bryce had so much music saved on her phone, because obviously like all of the songs that she was playing, like they had to be like saved in her library beforehand because there
Thank
was
God.
obviously no internet on the other planet. Right. So I'm just like having so much fun imagining Bryce listening to that metal. Like we know in canon that she does. I mean, it's so fun that she has such a diverse music taste. I don't know why, but like it's such a little tidbit that I
Yeah,
enjoyed a lot.
she listens to everything. And there was like a moment where
Mhm.
she played the metal. Nesta was horrified, like, what the fuck is that? Azriel, he just kind of smirked. So Bryce was like that she could imagine Azriel getting really along with Rune and his stupid friends.
Mhm.
So that was really cool. That's the only thing that I really wish we had got more of. I'm happy we got Nesta and Azriel, but I really thought that Reese was gonna bond with her too because they were related. But instead, we just got this jerky Reese, and ugh, yeah. I think we've come to the end. We concluded everything. It was fun discussing this with you. It was a fun book series, even though I have my criticisms, as do you. But yeah, I was here for the ride. Shit was always happening, shit was always going on. But now, for like the ending, I would like to ask you, how would you rate these books? I mean, not rate, but like, which one do you like the most and which one do you like the least, in that kind of a way, out of all of three of them?
My favorite is definitely the first one.
Same.
I enjoyed it so much. I mean, everything that I was annoyed at in previous Sarah J. Maas books seems to have been fixed, I guess, in this one. Like, we got more deeper bonds between friendships. We got a bit more realistic sort of backstories for characters that were a bit more believable, like world building. Thank God, finally, she did some world build. Oh my gosh, that made me so excited. Something else than Fae, other sort of mythological creatures. So in the first book, I was like, oh my gosh, like she's doing the things I wanted her to do. Like, I'm along for the ride. Fuck yeah, let's go. And I also love murder mysteries. That's something I discovered for myself. So the fact that this was the part of the plot was also like really keeping me going, keeping me excited. And the progression of Bryce and Hunt's relationship was also very well done. So for me, the first book, still the best. That might not be an opinion that everyone shares, but for me, I loved it. Then, second book, as we've discussed, I feel like relies too much on the cliches that Sarah just keeps doing over and over, and that lowered my enthusiasm for the rest of the series because I really hoped that this would be like the series where she evolves more. But in the second book, I was like, yeah, okay, we're not doing that, I guess. And the third book, I would say, is my second favorite because I was enjoying myself as I was reading it. It was fast paced, shit was going down, I like these characters, fun, except when Lydia got fucking shot by a horse. I enjoyed myself. But the more we talk about it and dissect it, the more I realized that it could have been better, right? So I will say overall, the series did not live up to the potential that the first book had for me, which leaves me not as enthusiastic for the future Sargent Bass books as I'd been when I finished the first Crescent City novel. Now I'm back to being like, you know, I'm not feeling overly enthusiastic about keeping up, I guess, with this universe. So, and what about you?
I also agree with you about the first book. That's definitely my favorite. I don't think I even had like one negative comment about it. It was like literally so
Mhm.
good. I also didn't mind the world building. It was interesting. I loved it. Then yesterday I was thinking about how I would rate them, and I thought that I would put the third book last, but honestly, now that I think about it, I have like less criticisms about it than the second one. I just thought that I would put the third book in last place because I was so disappointed by Night Court storyline, right? But the thing
Mhm.
is that that's again me. I had such high expectations. Like, we still got fun interactions between these characters. Like, the cave scenes could have been shortened, but other than that, I mean, Sarah, she never said that we're gonna get this huge multiverse battles. Like, that was all me. I really had it in my head that they're gonna merge, in the sense that Rysand is gonna lend his armies to Bryce and they're all gonna fight in this war together. That was in my head. It was like a big deal in my head, but that's a me problem, right? But other than that, I liked it. Yeah. So I feel like the third book is second for me, and then the second book is third for me. But yeah, I'm also not as enthusiastic as I was after the first book because the first book was just amazing. But at the same time, I do feel good about her switching up characters. I guess maybe getting getting Flynn's perspective and all of that. That sounds interesting. So I am excited about
Hmm.
that. I still am going to read it. And, it has the potential to be a really interesting book, the fourth one, since it kind of starts fresh in a way, right? Probably with new problems and new complications.
Hmm.
Okay, so now that we've discussed the bonus chapters and everything, I think it's finally really time to conclude. Thank you for listening. Hopefully, you liked the episode. Let us know on social
Hmm.
media what your thoughts are. Do you agree with us? Do you not agree with us? Now, we're going to be discussing some other books. Check out our schedule on social media. But then we're also going to do Akotar theories. And in the future, we're also going to do Throne of Glass. But for now, we're going to have a little bit of a break from Sarah J. Maas because there are so many other books out there that are amazing and we want to discuss them.
Hmm.
So yeah, follow us on social media. We're More Than Fiction Pod, and don't forget to rate us with 5 stars so that other people can find us and enjoy these discussions with all of us, right?
Yes, if you enjoy listening to us, maybe, tell your friends who like those books about it. And yeah, and check out our social media profiles. Of course, let us know what you think about this book. Like maybe you disagree with all of our opinions, but that would be so fun to discuss in the comments, right? So we'll be happy to hear from all of you. And next week, actually, we're going to be taking a break from books just in general, and we'll give you some recommendations for some TV shows that you maybe haven't heard of or maybe didn't check out yet because, in our opinion, they're underrated. So I can't wait to talk about some TV shows next time. Yay!
Me too. I'm actually like having a break also from books right now. I'm watching a TV show that I've already watched in the past. It isn't underrated, but still it feels so good. So yeah, I'm happy
Mhm.
to chat with you about these underrated shows too. And hopefully people are gonna watch them when we mention them. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you guys again. Light it up and see you next
Hmm.
week. Bye.
Yay! Bye, everyone.